An expert weighs in on why a plane went down just moments before landing in Greensburg, killing 4 people. Good evening, everyone. I'm Todd Connor.
And I'm Jenna Coy. Here's what we know about the crash that killed those 4 people earlier this month. The plane went down just a couple miles south of the Greensburg-Decatur County Airport. The plane had been cleared for a landing by the FAA, but the lights on the runway, which are controlled by the pilot, were never activated on what was a foggy night.
Our TV6 reporter Drew Smith joins us with an expert's take on the situation. Drew.
Well, Todd, in order to help understand what a private pilot faces when landing in less than ideal weather conditions, we went to West Lafayette this evening to speak with an expert.
Sometimes we do an approach to an airport.
Larry Gross teaches people how to fly. He's been doing it for 4 decades. An associate professor in aviation technology at Purdue, Gross teaches new pilots in these aircraft, somewhat similar to the Piper 46 that crashed December 2nd.
It's a 350 horsepower, pretty high performance airplane.
After reading the initial NTSB report, Gross says it's way too early to speculate on what went wrong. He did walk us through what pilots are faced with when landing in foggy and less than ideal weather conditions. The report states ceilings estimated at 300 feet with fog and mist that night. The required approach minimums for a straight-in landing at Greensburg are 700 feet with 1 mile visibility.
And then I fly along at that 700 feet above the ground till I get to what we call the missed approach point, meaning that if I don't see anything by then, I got to add the power and I got to go around and go someplace else.
Which is what another pilot did about 30 minutes before Don Horan's plane crashed, killing everyone on board. The other pilot, a friend of Horan's, safely landed at Columbus Airport.
So even if the weather is reported to be below minimums,
as it was in this case,
the pilot can, if they want to, go ahead and do the approach.
Gross is quick to add that it is not an option for commercial pilots.
So if we're coming in and I'm doing this instrument approach and a mile out or something, I look up and say, hey, I got the runway in sight. Or the approach lights, the lighting system in sight. Then I can say, hey, I've got the airport in sight, the runway in sight. Now I can descend on down below this minimum altitude and land my airplane.
At Greensburg Airport, the runway lights, as we said, are pilot activated. They never came on that night, and the report states they were operational. Todd?